Hey there, race fans. It's race day top 5 with me, Frank 5. Michigan International Speedway, one of the fastest tracks that we go to aside from super speedway tracks. This race really determines who brings their best equipment when it comes to speed, aerodynamics, all that combined. And yesterday we saw a very interesting race at Michigan Speedway that had one driver come out on top for his first season with more than just one single win, with one race left in the regular season. Let's talk about what went down in the Irish Hills. Number 1, Ryan Blaney, driver of the number 12 Penske car, picks up his second win of the season, his first ever win at Michigan, winning yesterday's Firekeepers Casino 400 at Michigan International Speedway, winning over William Byron, Kyle Larson, Kurt Busch, and Denny Hamlin. First time ever that Ryan Blaney has had a season where he wins more than just one race. About time. Long overdue. Ryan Blaney, for the most part in the race, very quiet in the top 10 for the majority of the entire race, but luckily he was able to gain track position in the final stage to put himself in a position to battle it out. And on the last restart of the race, with 8 laps to go, he was able to propel by both the Hendrick cars of Byron and Larson on the inside, which is not known for being the place to be on restarts. You want to be in the outside lane unless if somehow your lane screws up and the bottom lane is able to prevail. Blaney's lane prevailed to the bottom, and he held the lead and had to block with his entire life, for some reason his career was on the line, which is not at all. But he was blocking like crazy, holding off those Hendrick cars, and everybody was bringing an attack for the lead at him at the very end of the race. He just made some incredible blocks. A big win for him in the organization, for Team Penske. They are very, very fast, obviously, in Michigan. Obviously, they would have loved if Brad Keselowski, their other driver, would have loved to win in his home track. But in the end, it is Ryan Blaney that comes out with the victory. This is the 7th race in a row for Ford winning at Michigan. 7 straight races they won here. Holy moly. Can anybody stop Ford at this track? It looked like it was going to be the Chevrolets, but in the end, Ford comes out on top. I don't know how they do it, but they end up getting the job done. And this is pretty big for the 12 team and Ryan Blaney, because a couple weeks ago it was announced that Todd Gordon, Blaney's crew chief, who had been with Joey Logano the last few years and then paired up with Ryan Blaney last year, announced that he is going to be retiring from NASCAR crew as a NASCAR crew chief at the end of the season, which kind of sucks because Todd Gordon is a really good crew chief. So Blaney's got to go find another one, but they'll have another Penske crew chief swap again. They may shift Paul Wolfe from Logano over to Blaney, and maybe Jeremy Bullins will come over to Blaney, although they already worked there, so probably won't do it again. But yeah, you never know what's going to happen. But regardless, Blaney is able to get his second win of the season for the first time ever. Again, he has multiple wins in a single season, and he's probably now jumped into the conversation where he could battle out for the championship. I mean, Ryan Blaney is a good playoff driver. It's just that this win kind of helped him because the first run for him last year was just god-awful. I mean, they struggled. They not good at Darlington. They're never good at Richmond. They're good at Bristol, but they didn't have the car last year, and they got eliminated. So this time around, hopefully Ryan Blaney is able, with this second win now added to his bonus point total for the season, is able to help him get through the awful round of 16 and propel himself, because when he's made the round of 8 before. He did in 2019 after winning at Talladega. So Ryan Blaney, if he can make it to the round of 8, watch out. He could be a contender and could make it to Phoenix, and a track where he's very, very good at. Number 2, Hendrick Motorsports. Once again, we've seen how dominant they were, how dominant they've been this year, and they showcased it again yesterday. They brought the speed yesterday. They're 2 star contenders, and Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott both combined for leading 138 of the 200 laps that we ran yesterday. That's more than half the race. Both were dominant. Both started on the front row, and they had their track position for the majority of the day. Chase Elliott ended up getting his second stage win of the 2021 season. Kyle Larson was running up front, battling a lot with him. They actually tried drafting together because with the 550 horsepower package at a track like Michigan, you can kind of draft together to try to get away from people behind you, but you got to run different lanes opposite to the guy either in front of you or behind you. You guys have to run opposite lanes to not bring the other guy close to you if he's close to the lead. Those two really worked together all day yesterday. They did a good job. Then Elliott made a pit stop to start the final stage and got stuck back in the traffic, and he could only rebound to finish 8th after dodging one of those late late race wrecks, which was incredible. He was able to bounce back and finish 8th. Kyle Larson stayed up there for the majority of the race. William Byron showed up after he started mid-pack. He started working his way to the front and looked good in the final stage. Unfortunately, he was not able to get a good restart at the end with Larson, and they had to settle for 2nd and 3rd, but they both tried their hardest to get to Ryan Blaney. As for Alex Bowman, he was just kind of the low point of Hendrick Motorsports yesterday with the 16th place, but he got in the top 10 in the final stage, so the speed was there. The track position, kind of bit them in the final couple restarts. But nonetheless, Hendrick still had a good performance yesterday. They're still the team to beat, getting into the playoffs with all their drivers. All of them have at least a win or more and a lot of bonus points. I assure you, all of them will make it past the round of 16. Number 3, Austin Dillon. The irony of me making Austin Dillon my third point of top discussion. I gotta put my words together. Austin Dillon yesterday had, and I quote, a rocket ship. That car was fast. And Austin Dillon's been known for running well at Michigan in the past. Even when we had full horsepower, or lately with the 550 horsepower package, he's been known for running well here at Michigan. And yesterday, he kept up with those Hendrick cars and those Gibbs cars all day long. It looked like he was going to be the guy that could spoil the playoff grid because he was running well while his teammate Tyler Reddick was kind of stuck in the top 15 for the majority of the race. Dillon was up there with the 9, the 5. Those 3 were breaking away. He definitely had a car that could keep up with those guys. But at the end of stage 2, after they crossed the checkered flag and Austin Dillon finished in 6th place, I don't know what in the world happened, who to blame, but he was racing with Brad Keselowski. He got a side suck on him coming to the start-finish line, and I don't know if Brad came down or Austin came up, but they made contact, and Austin Dillon veered right into the outside wall, almost went airborne, taking him out of the race. And my heart broke for the 3 car because they had a car that could have won this race. They could have kept up with the championship. They could have locked themselves in to the playoffs and not have to worry about Daytona next weekend. But unfortunately, this crash bit them in the rear end, and they now sit 25 points out of the playoffs. I mean, they were gaining points yesterday. They lost all those points with the crash. But the 3 car had the speed, and the Richard Childress organization, again, they have been running stronger this year. The last year they were good. This year they've been running better. It's unfortunate to see this happen to Austin, and now he's got to go to Daytona. But he won the Daytona 500 in 2018, so why can't he win the regular season finale? Why can't he put himself in a position to make it into the playoffs? I mean, a lot of people are going to wonder, is this the turning moment that's going to cost Austin Dillon a spot in the playoffs? It could be, but it also could be the fact that he's not a good road course racer. I know they've been trying to improve his road course program, but Tyler Reddick's just been a better road course racer out of RCR this year than Austin Dillon. And the races that Reddick has been running well and Austin hadn't, that's going to probably come back and bite him. But there's still hope for the 3 team. All you need to do is try to outpoint your teammate the best way possible. Try to get in the top 10, get some stage points, or be the first one out of the 40 cars across that start-finish line and bring home a win for Richard Childress Racing and lock yourself into the playoffs. That's the only chance Austin's going to have. Now, Brad Keselowski did take the high road, and he said if that was his fault, he said, I did not want to have to do it to that 3 car. I apologize. I am so sorry for those guys. I mean, and I truly believe Brad Keselowski. And ladies and gentlemen, he's kind of been much better at, being apologetic and just worrisome for drivers over the last few years and not really trying to blame a lot of people. Because people, looked at him in 2014 like kind of a jerk, the way he drove and everything, even though you need to be aggressive. But Brad Keselowski, I think the fans have started to grow towards him the last couple of years. He's been he's been outspoken, but he also is not being like a total tool bag like some people are, like Kyle Busch when he loses. But in all seriousness, Brad Keselowski did apologize for what he did to the 3 car. He ended up getting 9th out of the race yesterday. But yeah, I mean, that really hurt Austin Dillon and the 3 team. Number 4, the Racing Product Michigan, the 550 horsepower package. We saw some good racing yesterday. We all love the restarts at Michigan, and this with the 550 horsepower package with them running 3, 4, 5 wide on the back straightaway is absolutely incredible. But a lot of people I see on social media are going to complain about this race because dirty air is a problem. You can stay with other guys, but you can't almost pass. That's why we saw the Hendrick cars and the 3 car really weren't able to pass in the middle of stage 2. The race for the lead at the very end of the last restart, they were close, but the Hendrick cars and Kurt Busch and the Gibbs guys couldn't get by Ryan Blaney. That's what a lot of people are going to complain about, saying it really wasn't that good of a race because dirty air is preventing people from trying to pass. That is something NASCAR is working on with this next-gen car. Will it improve the racing product to make close racing where you can pass? I mean, if we had the 750 horsepower package, these guys could probably pass. With the 550 horsepower package, you can stay close to each other. Can you pass? It all depends on what kind of track we're at, actually. I mean, you could pass at Las Vegas. You can pass sometimes at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You can pass, oh crap, I'm trying to think. I mean, you could pass at some of the mountain halves. I mean, Charlotte this year, you could sort of pass, but not much with those Hendrick cars when they were dominating over the rest of the field. There's really, there's a big debacle between a good race and a mediocre race. I felt it was a good average race yesterday because we saw the tight racing and we saw comers and goers in there. Hendrick dominated, but at the very end, we didn't have one single Hendrick driver dominate. We had 3 guys that could win. We had the Gibbs guys. We had Kurt Busch up there. We had Ryan Blaney jump up there late, and Logano was up there. Not every race can be great. We just have to accept it, see, like, if there was close racing, then I consider it a good race. But, again, everybody is entitled to their opinion. I felt like it was a good race. But, again, the dirty air comments are kind of a problem, and hopefully this next-gen car will be able to solve that problem next year in 2022. And number 5, the playoff bubble. With the Austin Dillon crash yesterday, it looked like that Tyler Reddick was going to be able to push forward and gain maximum points and be almost 40-plus points ahead of the 3 car going into Daytona. Well, on the last restart, I noticed in the back of the pack, Tyler Reddick got shuffled back and made contact with Daniel Suarez. That cut the left rear tire, and he spun around in 3 and 4. Thankfully, he was able to get it going, and NASCAR didn't call a caution. Some fans were pretty upset about that. I felt like if there wasn't any debris and he was able to move it back to the pits, what was the point of throwing the yellow? But the 8 car was in a position, even when they were struggling early on, it looked like they were going to be able to gain maximum points with their teammates' unfortunate demise in the race. But the 8 car unfortunately had his demise, and it's now back for, instead of 40-plus points, it's now 25 points. As for Kevin Harvick, he didn't really have the best race today, and I felt like he was going to be a contender because he's won 4 of the last 5 races at Michigan. I felt like he was at least going to be a factor. He struggled with an ill-handling car early on in the race yesterday. Then they got in the top 10 late, but fell back to 14th. Wasn't the best finish, but because we didn't get a new winner yesterday, Kevin Harvick and Kevin Harvick fans, congratulations! You are officially locked into the playoffs on points. I'll be honest with you, folks. If Kevin Harvick cannot win a race in the playoffs, he's an early run exit because he doesn't have any stage wins. He doesn't have any bonus points. He doesn't have a win. It'd be nice if he got one at Daytona next weekend, but the 4 car, other than the 10 car winning at Loudon, the 4 car's been the best of the team. He just hasn't gotten it doesn't have the speed and the consistency to win a race this year. It's kind of weird. I mean, could we almost go back to 2008, 2009 Kevin Harvick where he was running good or just okay, but not winning a single race? That could happen. That could possibly happen. But be happy, Harvick fans, be happy that Ryan Blaney won yesterday, because if Austin Dillon had won that thing, you would have been absolutely nervous going into Daytona. So I'll leave it at that. Also, Matt DiBenedetto, who is still job hunting for next year, gave a valiant effort with the Wood brothers yesterday, ran top 10 the majority of the race, ended up getting a 6th place out of it. It was a 6th place finish, I believe, with the nice color that the Wood brothers put together. They did a good job yesterday with a nice 6th place finish after they had a little contact earlier on the race with Kurt Busch, who was pretty upset about it. And if Kurt had gone back to that 21 car, he would have absolutely dumped him. But they were towards each other at the end, but Kurt was in front, so he didn't really care at all. So, 25 races in the regular season are officially in the books. We've seen a lot this year. We've seen fans begin to come back at full capacity even when dealing with COVID. We saw surprise winners. Michael McDowell winning the Daytona 500. Christopher Bell winning on the Daytona road course. We've been to Eric Almirola winning at the Magic Mile in New Hampshire for a guy that struggled this year. We've been to new tracks, the Bristol Dirt Race, Road America, Circuit of the Americas, Nashville Super Speedway. We went on the Indianapolis road course for the first time. I might be missing another track, but it'll pop back in my head another time. We've been to many different races this year. We've had a lot of interesting stories. We've seen a driver come back into NASCAR after saying some very unfortunate comment last year on an iRace that forced him to sit, that got him suspended for NASCAR. He's come back. He's having a wonderful comeback year with Hendrick Motorsports and Kyle Larson. We're seeing our NASCAR Cup champion and NASCAR's most popular driver, Chase Elliott, still running competitively and still a favorite for the championship. We've seen Kyle Busch go from a mediocre 2020 season to a good 2021 season. All the Hendrick cars running well. A lot of guys showcasing their talents. We saw a battle between two Busch brothers on the last time in the old service at Atlanta, with Kurt Busch prevailing, knowing that his future's in doubt. Two new teams, 2311 Racing, owned by Bubba Wall, by Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan, with Bubba Wallace driving. Trackhouse Racing with Daniel Suarez driving for Justin Marks and Pitbull. We've seen a lot of stuff this year. And now it comes down to this upcoming Saturday night at the night race at Daytona, the Coke Zero Sugar 400 on NBC. One spot is up for grabs. For the 15 guys that are already in the playoffs, go and have fun. Try to win to get some momentum. For Tyler Reddick, Austin Dillon, and the other 13 guys above the top 30, it's game on to get across that start-finish line first. Will Reddick be able to hold the point lead over his teammate Austin Dillon? Will Austin Dillon be able to win and catapult himself in and beat, or maybe outpoint his teammate Tyler Reddick? Or will someone like a Matt DiBenedetto, a Bubba Wallace, a Ross Chastain, a Daniel Suarez, a Ryan Newman, or even a Cole Custer or Ricky Stenhouse Jr. win at Daytona and punch their ticket to the playoffs? I have no idea what's going to happen. All I know is get your popcorn ready, folks, because Daytona is going to be one heck of a show, and I cannot wait for this race. So subscribe, like, congratulations to Ryan Blaney on his second win of the season, his first season where he has more than just one single win. Good race at Michigan, and now it's on to Daytona. See ya.